Hello, everyone. My name is Zoe. I am a product manager on the Flutter team. So I will be your host for this session. And then we are going to talk about CodePen today. As some of you may be aware that CodePen recently launched a brand new custom Flutter editor. So with me today, I have two guests, Alex and Mariano. And let's welcome our first guest, Alex. Hey, Alex. How are you
Hey
doing?
Zoe. Good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here today. Alex, so why don't you just introduce yourself? Let us know who you are, where are you from?
Sure thing. I'm Alex Vazquez. I'm one of the co-founders of CodePen, and I'm super excited to share all the work that we've been doing with the Flutter team.
Thank you, Alex. Well, some of our audience today probably aren't too familiar with what CodePen is. Can you actually just tell us a little bit more about CodePen and maybe even show us?
Sure, I'd love to. So I'll show you what CodePen's like. CodePen is first and foremost an online social web community for front-end developers and designers. It's a place where anyone can join and share their work, test out their ideas, and simply be inspired. So when you come to CodePen, you'll see that you can see the great work people are doing on CodePen. You can follow other developers, and you can even show them some love for their work that they're doing. Now, all the pens on CodePen are editable, and you can fork them and play with them and even embed them in blog posts. And we try to make that super easy so that you can focus on learning and without the frustration of setting up your environments and configuration.
So, what we particularly love about CodePen is the social and community feature that offers. And that's why we're super excited to see that you guys are bringing in Flutter into this community. Actually, while you're on the screen, can you just walk us through how you would actually get to the Flutter editor?
Sure thing. So on CodePen, you have this active sidebar that kind of sticks with you. And so if you go to the Create dropdown, you'll see that there's a little dropdown arrow, and you can choose the custom Flutter editor that we've created. Normally on CodePen, you'd create HTML and CSS pens, but you can now start developing your own Flutter demos right on CodePen. And so we start you with a smart little widget. My first language was Spanish, and so I always like to start with Hola Mundo instead of the
Nice.
typical Hello World. But the moment you start typing in the Flutter editor on CodePen, you start to get feedback, and you see how everything starts re-rendering automatically. Now, I found a
That was
demo
very
on
quick.
yeah, it's really amazing the technology that we've been able to leverage and what we've been able to build with your team. And so I found a little demo on Dartpad, and it was about playing with image blur. So I started playing with it, and so you can see, just like the other example, the moment I start typing, I can start playing with it, and I'll get feedback in an update. Now, this is a live view of a real web page that we're rendering. And so you can grab these pens, you can embed them in blog posts. So we have a little embed builder, and we give you the exact code to embed into your Medium blog post, your personal blog post, your WordPress blog post. And you'll see an example of what it looks like here. And so we're really excited to be able to introduce this awesome technology to our community.
That looks great. Thank you so much for walking us through the journey. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know that you guys are startup. Making the investment in building this custom Flutter editor must be a big, must probably take a lot of resource from you guys. So I wonder, how did you decide that you want to add Flutter among other frameworks? Just tell me a little bit more about the motivation behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
so it was a really big deal for us. We don't support a ton of additional frameworks beyond what we've initially supported. And so it was a bit of a departure, but we love introducing our users to new technology that empowers them to be both bold and productive. And Flutter does both of those things. So with Flutter embracing the web and all the excitement around it, when we found out that we could work with your team, the same team that built Dartpad, we knew that it would be a really great fit, and the likelihood of us succeeding in deploying this project was very high. And that's exactly the way it worked out. But it was being able to work with a team like yours to deploy this to our users and make it the right fit for CodePen. That's how we decided to opt into Flutter.
Nice. Thank you so much. Actually, you mentioned about working with the DARPAD team. I'm actually a part of the DARPAD team. So I know that CodePen was built, the CodePen Flutter Editor was built on top of the Dart services, which is the same service that powers the DARPAD backend. But our audience probably isn't that familiar with it. So I wonder if you can just like walk us through some high level technical architecture and let us know
Sure.
how you actually build a custom Flutter editor.
Sure. Yeah. So we were able, luckily for us, because the Dartpad itself is open source, we were able to kind of take a look at that, see what they were doing, and notice that, okay, we're doing a lot of similar things. And I knew that I could take advantage of kind of the backend services that you were already using. And so what we did is we pulled out some of the hard-coded configuration for our system, and we made sure that we were able to reuse the custom the editor that all CodePen developers are used to, but be able to abstract out using the Dartpad services. So, for example, whenever we format code, we send it off to a Dartpad API. Whenever we analyze the code or compile the code, and so after that compilation and formatting is complete, we grab the response, put it together, and put together a real life web page. And that happens within seconds. And being able to do that and work with your team was great because it was very easy and smooth to get over all the technical hurdles that we faced.
Thank you. Actually, so I want to share a little background story. When we built Dartpad, we specifically decided we want to open source that Dart services. So, a website like CodePen can take advantage of it. So in this particular case, we are not the expert in building social or community features, but you guys are. So I'm so glad that we actually did it. So now you can actually offer this additional tool to our Flutter community. So now our Flutter community has both Dartpad and also CodePen. If you want to go to if you want to code up a quick concept or you want to test an idea, you can go to Dartpad. Or if you are looking for a design community, you're looking for inspirations of creative works, you should totally go to CodePen. So I'm so glad that we actually have both, resources and tools available to our Flutter developers.
Yeah, I mean, having Dartpad as an open source project was this amazing resource. We started CodePen 8 years ago, and since then, the web just continues to explode to the point where developers expect to be able to try new technology right in their
Yeah.
browser. There should be almost no lead time between releasing something and me being able to try it. And so, what we love is we like to think of the web is kind of like pizza, and CodePen and
Okay.
Dartpad, they're just like pizza places. And so when we see another pizza place pop up, we don't think, oh my, that's worrisome. We always think this is great because what it really means is people really love pizza. And so it's just been this really great collaboration with your team to be able to do this.
Thank you. I love your pizza analogy. I'll tell my team about it. That's really cute. Okay. Well, in the interest of time, I have one last question for you. Are there any changes that you're planning to put in this custom Flutter editor in the future? Do you mind sharing that plan with our audience today?
Sure thing. Yeah, we are really focused on making the actual editor experience a lot better for Flutter editors. Flutter developers want the ability to have type ahead and intelligent error handling and error messaging, being able to look up documentation on demand, a lot of the niceties that you guys have already built into Dartpad. And so being able to bring those to CodePen, because that's kind of a foreign experience for us, that's what we're focused on, just the actual developer experience while they're learning this technology. That we want to enable them to be productive as quickly as possible. And so we're
These
super excited about that.
Yeah, these sound like really great features. We really look forward to seeing those. So, yeah, again, thank you, Alex, for being here today with
Thank
us.
you.
And please
Thanks for
keep us
having me.
posted as you hear more from your community or as you release new features on this CodePen Flutter editor. Well, next, let's welcome our second guest, Mariano. Hey, Mariano, how are you doing?
Hey Zoe, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mariano. So I got to know Mariano from Twitter because he's been sharing a lot of amazing Flutter works. Mariano, why don't you give us a quick introduction about yourself?
Sure, I would love to. My name is Mariano Zorrilla. I'm actually from Argentina. I've been doing Android apps, mostly mobile apps, for the past 10 years, and I'm currently a tech lead at Venmo. And I also part of several communities here in South America and also in San Francisco. Funny enough, I have the only Flutter community in San Francisco. So I'm pretty active between pretty much all the mobile community.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm really, really impressed. Actually, tell us a little bit more about your Flutter experience so far. What makes you so passionate about Flutter?
Sure, I would love to. I think I met Flutter around 3 years ago, but it didn't start right there. I started around 2 years ago with the Flutter studio jams that were set up around the globe. So I was making a small example. It wasn't the best code. No one likes their code even 6 months ago for how bad it was. But I keep learning. It was something interesting about Flutter, different from any other platforms that I experienced in the past. And I've been doing Android for 10 years, so I pretty much know any nitty gritty of it. But Flutter makes something special because I can just build one app, like code it once and then have it in like on the web, which is a platform that I never touched in the past.
That's good to hear. Thank you so much. So the reason why we want to bring Mariano to our show today is that I know that you have created like 18 or 20 different Flutter pens just within a 1 month, right? Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm 20 currently. I need to sleep. But no, kidding. Yeah, I've been doing a lot on the past for the community. I think the community keeps encouraging me to do a lot more. But yeah, currently I'm on 20 CodePen examples since the day they was launched. I've been nonstop delivering examples.
I am really impressed. So the reason why we want to bring you here is we want you to actually show some of the works that you have created. Show us some of the things that you are most proud of.
Sure, I would love to. I got several examples. I can start for the very first example that I did, which was super simple. It wasn't really complex. All I did was just follow around the mouse into the small characters that I have like on my current screen, and you can just pick on the eyes and just like it's gonna hide it,
really
and
cute.
You can see. Yeah, you can just wave a little bit. So I didn't know the limits of CodePen at the moment, so I need to see what I can and cannot do. So then I could just push the limits a little bit more. Then I created a small example, like a small handheld device that you can change the background and the colors, so you can see a little bit transparent, and you can just swipe the different cartridges that it has, like a small video that it has in the application. But then I was like, how can I break it even more? Like testing CodePen to the limits. So in this example that I have like a car sharing app, I merged two CodePens into one. Crazy idea that I have. So I got like the Google Maps on the background, which is a CodePen, and then I put the Flutter on top of it. I merged both of them, and I managed to get like a little car on the screen and the user location and all that kind of stuff. But then I was like, okay, which one is really popular? And I start making like chat apps pretty much, different famous ones that I have, which you can actually use it. You can, if you even type and say it's like, hello, and you send a message, or you, even if you see details from them, you can see it. Well, the great thing about it is that I noticed even with CodePen is like, it was so fast. It works like if it was actually built on a web app. So I can use the media query, which detects the width of the screen currently. So I can switch between more like a desktop, tablet, and mobile UI without any hiccups. So I can make all those changes and examples, and the UI adapts from all those changes. I'm also have like a working chat app that I also doing, and I'm testing things like different animations and even animated GIF that I put it on the screen, and it's working without any single problems. And also this one has a new UI which changed it in the middle of me actually doing the example, but it's working perfectly, no issues at all. And I'm really proud of like how worked this, like I did it really fast, and it didn't take me too much to share it to the community.
Wow. So I'm just really curious, how long did it take you to create these pens? Does that take a lot of your time, or did that take a lot of code?
It depends on the app. I would say, depending on the example that I did. The first one, it take around 300, 400 lines. The small examples, you got a background and the small images, and that's it. But like you say, start making more complex apps, like a full web and chat apps. Those are taken between, I would say, 1,500 and 2,700 lines of code, which translate into 10 to 20 hours around.
Wow, just 10 to 20 hours. Wow, that's crazy.
Yes. So people think that I take like weeks or so.
Yeah.
Some people even suggested me, it's like, how do you build that in 2 days? First of all, I don't sleep. No, just kidding. I take my free time to do it, but I really enjoy it. Actually, I really enjoy doing it. It only takes me 1-2 days, and to share it to the community so they can take that example and make their own versions maybe.
That's crazy. Thank you so much for using that. So, as a heavy user of the Flutter CodePen editor, what is your favorite feature? Tell us about it.
Sure, I will have to say mostly the social features because I
Hmm.
love to do Medium posts about the different works and codes that I can do with Flutter, and the fact that I can embed my Flutter examples on CodePen. It just put like the URL that I put it on Medium, and I can see like real time interactions. That means that people without an IDE they can actually use and interact with Flutter
Yeah.
without any problem, and then they can actually comment on the code pen. They can actually like if they wanted, or they could, like you say, like copy the code, put in their own code pen, make the changes that they wanted. So I would say that all the aspect of the social community aspect of it, I really love it.
Yeah, I'm actually so glad that you mentioned about the social aspect of it because that's exactly what we love about Copan. And that's also something that Darpad didn't offer. So I wonder that since you have shared the Flutter pens on a lot of social media, what kind of feedback have you been getting from your followers?
I mostly start posting them on Twitter. I get a lot
Hmm.
of like retweets and likes and a lot of people
Yeah,
feedback.
that's
It's
how
like,
I got
wow,
to
this
know
is
you.
amazing. Yes. So a lot of people start like messaging me. It's like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't know like Flutter was capable. Some people didn't even know what Flutter was until I start showing a lot of those examples and retweeted by the community. One
Hmm.
fun fact, I start posting on LinkedIn, which is a platform that I don't normally share any content.
Oh,
And I
okay.
get like even better responses than on Twitter. People actually wanting to use either in their side projects or maybe suggesting at work. Like one friend that is working on a big company says like the CTO wants to talk with you because maybe they want to implement Flutter for some examples.
Wow,
And I
that's
think that's
really
an even
impressive.
better response on Twitter because the people actually want to do it for work, which is amazing.
Well, I really hope that with more and more folks asking you about Flutter on LinkedIn, and they will be seriously consider Flutter for their, for their commercial apps. That's great. So I'm curious, what is your next Flutter pen idea that you plan to work on?
Oof, I don't know. I have so many in my head.
Oh,
I normally stack a lot of examples in my head, but I try to tackle the big ones because a lot of people feel intimidated. They think they have so many developers and so many like designers that it's impossible to do these UIs. And I wanted to show that even with 1,000 lines of code in 1 or 2 days, I can actually recreate those UIs
hmm.
and maybe break a little bit more like that imposter syndrome that a lot of people have that think I'm not able to do this. And just sharing them that they're capable. Don't worry, you can do it with Flutter. It's so easy to do it with Flutter. And that's part of what I like to do. So like mostly the big names, if you want to call it.
That's great. Great. Thanks for sharing that idea. So before we wrap up, any words of wisdom that you would like to share with our audience today?
Yes, feel free to use all my examples. I think one of the amazing things that not many languages have is the ability to test on the web, even on your mobile device. You can open one of my
Hmm.
URLs, take one of my examples, and test Flutter and see how powerful it is. Because the same code that I have on Copen, you can throw it up later on Android Studio, on VS Code. You can actually run on device. And even better, because the performance once it's built is way better than the
Hmm.
examples that you see there. So if my examples with the limited resource work so good and encourage people to do like coding, maybe they weren't coding in the past or they maybe didn't decided to take into a new direction or a new technology. And if I can do that for a lot of people and change their careers, I'm going to continue doing so.
That's actually a great point because I often get questions from different people asking how is Flutter difficult to learn? Is Dart difficult to learn? How different is Flutter from other frameworks? So I would say just give it a try. Like now you have Copen. Try to see some of the samples that Mariano and other experts have built. Fork it, make it your own version. So you actually get to see the power of Flutter before deciding, you want to spend the time in installing the SDK. So definitely take advantage of that. Again, Mariano, thank you very much for being here today and sharing your amazing works. We're really, really impressed. And also, please continue to help us support Flutter in the community.
Thank you so much for having me. Sure, I will continue making more examples.
Thank you, Mariano. Well, for our audience today, if you're watching this session, I have a challenge for you. Go to the CodePen Flutter Editor, create a Flutter pen, and share your work on social media with the hashtag FlutterPen. And then we look forward to seeing great works from you. That being said, that's it for the CodePen session. Next up, I'm going to turn you over to the Ask Flutter team. We're hosting a live Q&A session, and please turn your questions to Twitter or YouTube using hashtag AskFlutter. We hope you enjoy a great Flutter day. Bye-bye now.